Hello guys, it's Prof again and welcome to another video tutorials on Python for data scientists. In this tutorials, I am going to talk about a Python interpreter, and let me make it clear. I am using the Windows platform, so I will not be handling things that are specific to the Linux and Mac OS platforms. However, about 99% of the things that I'll be talking about are common in all platforms. Okay, they are Python specific and not platform specific. So in a previous video, I talked about how to install the interpreter and also launch it. So if you haven't watched that video, I will recommend that you check it out. One of the interesting things about Python is that you can launch it in an interactive mode where you get to use it as a calculator and do other amazing stuff. Okay, so let's launch the Python interpreter. I'm going to use the command prompt approach, something you would learn if you watch my first video on this course. Okay, so this is the Windows command prompt. If you're on Linux or Mac, you can open your terminal. Okay, now the first thing that I want us to look at is to check the version of the Python that we have on our system. And to do that, you can type Python -v. Sorry, and the V here has to be the capital V. And when I hit enter, I can see that the version of Python I have installed is Python 3.8.1. Another way you can do this is to type Python version in full, and they do pretty much the same thing. Now, if you're unable to get it done this way, then chances are that you don't have Python installed on your system's path. So please watch my first video in this playlist and learn how to fix the issue. However, if you don't have time to do that, another way you can follow with the tutorial is to launch the Python interpreter directly from here, but then you can actually execute this kind of command in the interpreter itself. Okay, but there is another way you can do that. So let us launch the Python interpreter in interactive mode. Now in the interactive mode, we can enter commands and get them execute on the fly. Okay, you enter command, you hit enter, and Python gives you the output for that command. Now to do that, you can just type the command Python and hit enter. Okay, now the first thing you would observe in the interpreter are these three greater than signs, which we call the prompt. Okay, now this, whenever you see this, it means that the interactive shell or the interpreter is ready to take command. So I can do things like 2 + 3, and it gives me a result which is 5. Now one thing that I want you to notice is that, you see, the output of this command had no prompt. Okay, so whenever you see the 3, the prompt symbol, which is the 3 greater than sign, then know that the system or the interactive shell requires you to enter a command. But then when it generates a response or an output, you won't see the prompt signs over there. Another thing that you would observe is that when you don't complete your statement, for instance, if I want to do 2 plus let's say 10, okay, however I do 2 plus and then this kind of let me use another example. So let's say I want to print out hello world. Okay, however, you realize that there is a missing closing parenthesis, and the interactive shell can actually detect that. So when such a thing happens, when you have uncompleted statement, you will see these 3 dots or ellipses telling you that you need to complete the command that you are entering. Okay, so in this case, all I have to do is to type my closing parenthesis, hit enter, and then I have my output, which you can know because it has no prompt symbol, okay, and then the interactive shell comes back to the input mode. So with this, you can enter commands and receive your response on the fly. So that's why we say that you can use the Python interpreter, or you can launch the interpreter and use it as a basic calculator. You can do pretty much amazing things. You can do 2 squared, which is 4, and in Python to do square you use double asterisk. 2 raised to the power, let's say 10, and that 3 times 19, 9 mod 2, 45 divided by 5, okay, and you can just be using it as a basic calculator. And not just as a calculator, you can also use it for pretty much anything. For instance, I can write a simple script that will generate all even numbers from 1 up to 20. Okay, I can just do a simple program like for num in range 20. Now you see, because I'm not done with the code, you can see that the ellipses or the 3 dots are showing. Is that okay? And I'll do something like if num mod 2 equal to 0. Now this number mode 2 equal to 0 is a way you can test for even numbers. Okay, the modulo sign returns the remainder of a division operation. So if the remainder is 0, then it means that that number is actually divisible by 2. It's a very simple division. It's a very simple mathematics. Okay, now in Python we use tabs a lot, okay, indentation. So I'll be explaining this concept in video and in previous video. Then what do? I want to print out that number, so I'll just print num, okay, and then yeah, that's all. And you see that gives me 0, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, and 18. Okay, so you realize that every number here is actually divisible by what? 2. It's actually divisible. So you can run snippets of code directly in the interactive shell and play with it. So you can use it for things like experimentation and other stuff. Okay, now one other thing that I want to talk about is a program called IPython. Okay, currently I have it installed, so if I type IPython I can launch it up. Now IPython is another it's a more juicy interactive shell for the Python interpreter. Now in IPython you see this symbol in for input. So if I type things like 2 plus 4, and you see output 6. So instead of using the prompts, which is 3 greater than signs and all those stuff, IPython kind of format it nicely and also give you all this terminal coloration and stuff. Now if you want to install IPython, it is simple. You can use the command pip install IPython. Okay, and when you hit enter, it will install it for you, but you have to make sure that you have access to the internet. All right guys, this is all for this episode. Thank you for watching. The name is Professor, and see you in another tutorial.